Alright, welcome back to episode 3. So we're just gonna pick up right where we left off. You're going to see here that the Archwing segment launcher is now done. So as soon as I'm done installing it, I'll just have to make the Archwing launcher itself, which will have to grind Cetus for a little bit longer. And in the meanwhile, I'm gonna scroll down here so you can check out all the other blueprints that I have ongoing or ready as I'm progressing through mastery and other things, in case you're actually following along. Just a quick note here, as promised yesterday, today we're going to be progressing to Uranus, doing the story quest, doing some junctions and quests, and primarily starting to do our standing grind, especially after we complete the Archwing launcher. Additionally, today I will also be hitting ep3, which will unlock syndicates, and that is additional dailies that will get stacked on top of us, giving us plenty of things to do every single day as we come back. So I hope you're getting into the groove of things with the way this is going to work. We're going to be doing a lot of standing every single day, and it's just going to add up over time. You'll always have plenty of things to do. Of course, this is exactly why we want to get started on it as soon as possible, so that we can finish some grinds and start on others and will never become overwhelmed. Here also, as you can see, I'm just modifying my taxon. I leveled up Vacuum for extra pickup range. I am also leveling up Guardian, which is a very important mod for maintaining your shields. I highly recommend that, especially early on. And then with the Artax weapon, I'm going to put Stormbringer on it. Combining cold and electric gives it magnetic. And the beautiful thing about Artax is that it has a unique trait which allows it to always do cold damage anyway. So now it's going to prime enemies with magnetic damage, making them take more damage to shields and overguard, which, as you probably noticed, is becoming a problem at this point in the game since most Eximus enemies are starting to spawn with overguard. And here I'm just doing the same runs as yesterday. I'm doing less of the actual material grind right now and focusing more on the animal capture because we're primarily looking to finish the daily standing on Ostrons, and then so we can move to other things like Fortuna, since it only takes about 30 minutes to craft the Archwing launcher. If you were paying attention, the Archwing launcher also requires fishing scales, which was something that we'll get into right after finishing the standing and the materials. Okay, so here's the fishing shop. We're going to be purchasing luminous dye, which will be useful both on Fortuna later and on Cetus, since we're going to be fishing now. I'm also going to purchase both of the types of baits, but only the first type of bait is really useful, so it doesn't really matter, but I do recommend to buy all of them eventually, since you'll need to fish a lot of different types of fish for all the different zaws you're going to be crafting, and some recipes require it outside of Cetus as well. So here I am in the middle of the lake. I'm about to start fishing. Something worth of note that if you're going to fish significantly more than we're going to fish here, just for the necessary materials for the crafting recipes and the rank up, then I highly recommend that you try and look for a fishing spot where there is, like, the water is being disrupted, looks slightly frothier, more white. Those fishing areas have a higher spawn chance for fish. So do keep an eye out for those, but for our sake this is most likely good enough and doesn't take that long, so that's exactly what I'm going to stick to here. I will take advantage of this, however, later on Fortuna, just so you know, and this is something useful that can help you save a few minutes.
Hello there.
So, having successfully gotten all the scales and the standing for Ostron, we now have 30 minutes to do anything we want. In this case, I'm going to do the quest New Strange, and I highly recommend you do the same, because completion of the quest will both replace your current codex scanners with synthesis scanners. You'll also unlock a new trader with lots of useful things that you can get from his shop, and the quest will reward you with a new mission, which will be used for leveling things up from now on.
I am Cephalon Samaris, the Destroyer, the Immortalizer. This is my sanctuary. It will enlighten you, Tenno, should you assist me in performing synthesis. You will hunt the creatures I require and transform them into beings of the sanctuary. That is synthesis.
I'm just quickly going to talk here about Cephalon Simaris and the things he does and what he is useful for. So you're going to be able to undertake daily standing missions from him. Upon completion, you will get standing for his shop, in which you'll be able to spend sad points, both for useful companion mods, reacquiring things that you've lost from missions, purchasing the ever-useful Simulacrum, which is essentially our testing ground, where we're able to spawn enemies at will and test our weapons to our heart's content. He also sells his own synthesis scanners, which you can just purchase with credits. As an additional note, though unrelated to the shop from Simaris, I highly recommend that you acquire Helios as soon as possible. Helios is a very useful companion or sentinel, which scans things passively for you as you progress throughout the mission, unlocking the codex entry and allowing you to spawn the said enemy inside the simulacrum. It also helps you out during the daily missions when doing scans for Simaris.
You are here on a capture mission. You must find, capture, and extract our target.
The hunt is on, Tenno. The synthesis scanner is detecting a potential target. Use it. Search for traces of the target.
You found a target. Capture them quickly before they escape. Scans indicate our target is in the vicinity. Find them. Mission complete. The captive has been escorted to the extraction point. Well done.
There it is, right for synthesis. Tame this creature so you may perform the synthesis I require. Your hunt is finished. Pay me a visit to receive your reward.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching. Great work. I am pleased with your performance.
Okay, so the mission we got as a reward for completing the new Strange is called the Sanctuary Onslaught, and the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught by the extension. You can only attempt the Elite Sanctuary Onslaught if your Warframe is at least level 30. A lot of people are always doing this to level up their equipment, so I highly recommend you do the same since this is a very efficient and fast way to do so. The Archwing launcher has finally completed, and now I'm on Fortuna. I'm going to quickly check the depth bonds that I can purchase. Since a lot of the standing we're getting is coming straight from animal capture and we're not really completing the bounties, we're not really getting any depth bonds. So the only real way we can acquire depth bonds is by purchasing them from Ticker. This does cost some credits and a lot of materials, but it's just something that you'll have to figure out and see what kind of materials and depth bonds are currently on rotation. Don't worry about your credits too much. As long as we have about 50,000, we'll be able to do the index very soon once we finish the next story quest. which will pretty much guarantee that you have infinite credits. Okay, so in my case, I saw that I could purchase some training depth bonds for some mining materials, which is why I'm now in Orb Valleys, and I'm looking around, and I'm going to show you a nice little cave that I always mine in myself. And after you complete mining most of the resources that you can see on the minimap, you can pretty much leave the valleys and then come back, reloading the map, and then continue mining should you require more.
Show me that you know of the old ways.
Having figured out my materials on Fortuna, I'm now realizing that I have the Mastery Advancement. I'm going to complete this Mastery Advancement to rank 3, which will unlock us some weapons to level up, and also, at long last, will unlock the Syndicates. The Syndicates work very similar to the standings we've been leveling up until now, with the exception being that they don't really like each other. So there are 6 in total, and you can only really pick 3 of them, and the other 3 will hate you. So make sure you pick wisely. In my case, I'm going to pick New Loka and the associated syndicates, such as Parent Sequence and the Red Veil, primarily because the New Loka has all of the augment mods that we need for Mag. Additionally, once you level up these standings all the way up, you'll be able to trade the weapons and all of the associated augments with other players. And since you can only select 3 out of the 6, there will be players that are the opposite of you, who you'll be able to purchase things from and trade things to. Very nice way to create plat passively, so make sure to keep an eye out on that. Also, every single syndicate has weapons associated with them, which you'll eventually have to master, and it just so happens that New Loka has the nice Sancti Magister, which heals you and provides status effect immunity while holding it, which fits very nicely into the playstyle that we have going on right now, of slam attacks and ignore everything else. I also quickly want to highlight here that on the console to the left of your navigation, you can access all the different syndicates and standings right there and teleport to their current location or quickly check whether you've finished your daily standing, such as Cephalon Simaris, which also works as a quick access to Simulacrum later on. So just like on Cetus, there's a lot of different fishing locations on Fortuna. Right now I'm just doing it to get the final materials that I require for my depth bonds to purchase them. Also later on in this run I will be doing the Fortuna animal capture on my Archwing, now that we finally have that, and this is something that I'm going to repeat now pretty much every single day, figure out what depth bonds we need, and then figure out what materials we need for the depth bonds, go into the Orb Valleys, animal capture until we have necessary standing, and then rank up with the Solaris United. If you're wondering why we need to rank up with Solaris United as soon as possible, it'll both be relevant later on once we finish a few extra story quests, but also additionally it's for the Spore Laser since we require some of the parts for our kit gun from Fortuna since we already purchased the Spore Laser from Deimos. And so here I'm now outside in Orb Valleys. This is how your animal capture run should look now, both on Cetus, on Deimos, and on Fortuna, though the Deimos ones of course don't give you a standing, do keep that in mind. That will be more for capturing animals for the pets, and for getting token sons, or sons tokens. So the main gist of it is you're just going to fly around, you're going to hear an animal in distress, you'll pull out your tranquilizer, you'll look around, then you'll find the creature and you're going to tranquilize it. On Fortuna or Valles, you're going to fly between 2 mushroom locations back and forth, and you're going to listen for these animal cries. You will pretty much repeat this until you've maxed out your current daily standing cap, or of course you've hit the necessary amount to rank up, at which point you should go back to Fortuna and figure out what it is that you need to rank up. At long last, we're at the Uranus Junction. The only thing that's left is to do one more Void Fisher run for Meso Relic. And I'm going to do, of course, on public so that you have a higher chance of acquiring something rare. When you're opening Void Relics, I highly recommend to pick a fast mission mode like Capture or Sabotage or Rescue. That way you can open as many relics as possible per hour. Also, since I've never really shown a full relic run, I'm going to leave this run in here just for people that want to see the general gameplay at this point, and then what reward I get from the mission.
Don't forget the reactant. You need more to open that relic. Your target is this location's computer system. Find and access the terminals. Your target is the reactor. The reactor will have tight security. Watch out for enemy patrols. The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside. That's the reactor. Expose its core and destroy it. That's it. Now get out of here. Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
So now that we're on Uranus, while progressing to the next junction, make sure to keep your eye out for a blue flash that happens across your screen. Once that happens, a new enemy type will spawn. You should let them scan you, and that way you'll start the new story quest. And after completing the quest, the only thing we'll have to left over for the junction is to defeat Tilrigor, which is the boss of this planet. As you can see here, we've also unlocked the Duviri's Paradox quest. I don't recommend to do it right now, though you can of course if you want to. We'll be revisiting it significantly later to unlock certain endgame content. I was lucky enough to find an Iton sculpture during my quest and be able to complete it fully, so at long last I have some endo. Here I'm just showing the state of my current Warframe and what mods I'm going to be leveling up on my melee weapon, though it's nothing you haven't seen before. So here's Tilrigor, we're going to be bullying him. It's a 3-stage fight and it takes a while, so I'm going to skip ahead during this fight. But this is primarily because we're using a melee weapon and he teleports around a lot, but it's not really anything threatening, so you should be able to do this quite easily if you're following the exact methods that I'm doing. Every single time the fight transitions to a new stage, he covers part of the map with water, so make sure to climb upwards towards the final area. Alright, so here it is, the final junction. Thank you for watching the video. In the next episode we'll be doing the second dream quest, which is the next story quest, and progressing throughout the Pluto junction. If you check the Pluto Junction, you'll see that the Pluto Junction requires the completion of the second dream quest. I hope you've enjoyed watching this episode. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Otherwise, have a wonderful day.